This is 5 on your side at 6. Focused on you.
Road rage turned deadly today in Fenton. Police say a man opened fire on another driver after an argument near a busy intersection. Thank you for being with us tonight. I'm Ann Allred. This happened on Highway 141 in Fenton, right toward the end of the morning rush. 5 on your side's Diamond Palmer has been on the scene all day and joins us live in Fenton. Diamond.
Good evening, and St. Louis County Police say this happened right here on Highway 141 between two drivers. They had a road rage incident, and police say one of the drivers shot at the other one, but they do have a suspect in custody. Now, this all started on Highway 141 near Gravois Bluffs Boulevard at 8:10 this morning. One of the vehicles involved belonged to Merritt Landscape and Lawn Care. When police arrived, they found a man with a gunshot wound. He was taken to the hospital where he later was pronounced dead. We spoke to one witness who says he was trailing behind the landscape truck at the time and saw the drivers of both the truck and the other vehicle get into an argument before the gunfire rang out.
He went up to the window and he started to talk to him. I thought he was maybe pointing at him and he might have touched it with his tip of his finger. And I got out and was trying to see what happened. And then everybody started coming up and realizing that the guy had been shot.
Now, we have reached out to Merritt Lawn Care and Landscaping for comment, and we are awaiting that response. St. Louis County Police say this investigation is ongoing, but if you have any information, you should call Crime Stoppers at 866-371-TIPS. Reporting live here in Fenton, Diamond Palmer, 5 on your side.
Police have one person in custody in connection with a shooting inside of a North St. Louis County business. The shooting happened around 11:30 this morning in a strip mall on West Florissant, south of Seven Hills Drive. The victim later died at the hospital. The suspect ran off. Police arrested them after a brief chase. Take a look at these pictures from the Ferguson Fire Department. A car crashed into a house on North Florissant Road near Frost Avenue. Witnesses say a man trying to get away from police made a U-turn, hit another car, sending it into the house. 3 adults and 1 child were inside that car. They were taken to the hospital. The 2 people who live in the house were not home at the time. 2 Belleville men have been arrested for the death of a Collinsville man. Carlos Mosley and Amari McGee are being held in the Madison County Jail on murder charges. Neighbors found Tyrese Owens' body in a ditch Wednesday morning off Route 159. Police say he had a cut on his torso. He was 21 years old. Police are investigating an attempted carjacking in Kirkwood. A rideshare driver was picking up a passenger on Hartman Court early Wednesday when another car tried to block the driveway. 2 people wearing masks got out, tapped on the windows, pointed guns at the driver and a passenger, and told him to get out of the car. The 2 suspects took off when another passenger the driver was picking up started opening their garage door. So far, no arrests. We'll hear from that driver tonight at 10. This weekend, the Armory in St. Louis is hosting a silent auction and raffle to help raise money for a new local veterans charity to open here in St. Louis. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, talked to the high-ranking Army veteran behind it all. Mark?
And it's not every day you get to talk with a command sergeant major in the U.S. Army, someone who was so high-ranking he was often called on to testify on Capitol Hill about military operations in Afghanistan. He said that transition home, the way we left, took a mental toll on him, but his work now helps alleviate that burden on his fellow soldiers making that same trip home. Tim Matheny is a man on a mission.
No time to waste.
That mission started out here in St. Louis more than 3 decades ago when he first walked into these doors to enlist in the U.S. Army.
My first plane flight ever was out of St. Louis to basic training.
His travels took him to Iraq, where he earned a Purple Heart when shrapnel from a rocket-propelled grenade pierced his jaw, and eventually to Afghanistan, where he became the command sergeant major overseeing American troops, sometimes pinning medals on them for their valor.
When you see a young man that's been shot in the hip and shot through the face, and he's completely sedated, and the general and I go in to put his Purple Heart on him, and this guy's trying to sit up in a hospital bed and trying to salute the general.
It was in between deployments when tragedy struck during a stateside stint at Fort Hood.
Worst day of my life. And like I said, I've lost 147 people in combat, and that was the worst day of my life.
That morning at breakfast was the last time he'd ever see his son, Zach.
My daughter called me or texted me and said, Zach's not at school. He wasn't on the bus. And so then we started looking, and then they found him about an hour and a half later. he had gone across the street and shot himself. He was 14.
It's that same unimaginable grief that devastates veterans' families all too often.
You know, we lost close to 5,500 people in combat in Iraq and Afghanistan. Over the last 20 years, we've lost close to 21,000 to suicide.
That's what motivates his new mission.
We try to prevent veteran suicide by, if you're getting evicted from your house.
Matheny works for USA Cares, a nonprofit dedicated to protecting veterans from financial ruin.
We've stopped the sheriff's department from coming to a house as it was going down.
He says the demand for help is only growing in an economy where poverty and inflation are on the rise.
Sooner or later, it just weighs you down. Every one of those stressors comes in, and then you get to the point where you're like, well, I'm a failure. I'm unsuccessful. Especially if you've served in Iraq and Afghanistan, you got to feel like, well, why'd I do that? I spent years away from my family, and I went through. It cost me a son. It cost me a marriage. And then you come back and you go, why?
With a new chapter opening in the town where his mission all began,
I feel like I'm back on the team again.
Tim Matheny is still looking out for his fellow soldiers. And if you thank him for his service, he'd say something like this.
Now, this country's worth it. It absolutely is.
If you're wondering how you can help, Jim Beam and the Armory are hosting that Toast to the Troops tomorrow from 11 to 4. Some big auction items up for grabs there at that silent auction and raffle. Even a share of all the drink sales will go to help veterans and their families. If you can't make it there in person, there's a link up on KSDK.com right now with how you can help veterans, help fight veteran suicide.
Communities across the U.S. are celebrating Veterans Day this weekend, and in St. Charles County, they're honoring our nation's heroes today. 5 on your side, Travis Cummings takes us to O'Fallon, where young people led the way.
Yeah, so we're holding up signs that are saying all the wars.
That's a big responsibility to bear.
So are you nervous at all?
A little bit, but it's fine.
7th grader Noah Kleckner is ushering in some very important guests today at Mass.
It makes me feel special because I'm helping with serving the veterans.
They're saluting the men and women who have laid their lives on the line. Families in O'Fallon and the pews a day before Veterans Day this year, sharing song and prayer. And to hear from the heroes themselves about what it takes.
To me, a veteran is someone who understands the need to adapt and persevere, no matter how difficult things are.
Little Kleckner is glad to know that runs in his family.
My great-grandpa was in the war, so I feel like it's even more special for me because I get to appreciate what it was like to have a veteran in a family.
More than 41 million Americans have joined the armed forces over the course of our nation's history. And veterans say events like this one make them proud to have served.
My parents taught me 3 things, right? It was love of family, love of faith, and love of country.
Rocky Sickman needed that when he served in Asia, Europe, and the Middle East from 1976 to 81. He was one of 65 Americans held hostage in Iran for 444 days during the Iran hostage crisis in 1979.
Finding out that 8 other veterans lost their life, for me, it's one of those things that is very near and dear.
That's why he's the recipient of a St. Michael Medal this year. The ultimate thanks from young people to those who fought for their freedom. Travis Cummings, 5 on your side.
St. Charles County has a number of other events happening to honor veterans this weekend. We have a list inside this story under the As Seen on TV section at KSDK.com.